Hello folks, welcome to another Starreign development blog. Today I'm going to be showing you the changes since the last time I posted one of these. Today I'm going to be using some new recording software and a different microphone, so hopefully things are a bit smoother than normal. To start with, we have our Starreign homepage kind of main menu. Most of the buttons are still not really functional. I created the credits just on a whim so I could look at myself, my name everywhere. But that's not really what I want to show you today. I have been working on the arcade mode that I discussed before. So here we have it. I have named this particular scenario of the arcade mode Assault on King's Hill. So this is just some fluff that I wrote. It's not too important. It's was just to have something here to show that there's going to be a panel where you can have information and so on and so forth. So I have been working on this community mode, arcade mode. And the reason for this has been because it's a pretty good little sandbox playground to test a lot of features. For example, are my characters, moving and acting the way that I expect them to? Is the AI functioning? Are the abilities functioning? And it's also been recently a nice little area to test out graphics, which you're going to see because I am very proud of the huge jump in graphics we've taken, although it's still not the finished product. So here we have our character select if you had picked arcade mode. And these are just different characters. And let's see. Some descriptions. I'm going to pick this one, Savant, who I have made specifically for this demonstration because he's very hard to kill, level 10. So when we select him, we can click Start, and we're going to go into the game. So here we have the start of our game. And the first thing you're going to notice is that the graphics are way better. We actually have a model here, and although he's a little clunky, he moves, and so do the AIs. The AIs all have models, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail about that in a second, but as you can see, we have a little bug here. This guy's not moving. I wouldn't worry about it too much. This is still pre-alpha. There's bound to be a lot of issues, and these are the new graphics that I have put in. So the terrain is in general looking a lot better. I think our cursor looks better, and we have, I don't know if we had this last time, it's a little camera adjuster. And also I put that in because I thought that the camera looks a little bit too close to the ground, and then you can't see things like this in the distance, people walking. So there's a lot to look at here, and let's just take a moment to admire, as I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, I think that's all the admiration we need. So, I don't know if this is new. It's been quite a while since I made one of these. And I think there's a lot of changes. Hopefully I can identify all of them. I believe this may be reworked as well, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, the purpose of this was so you can look up and you can see things a little bit more clearly, and it's obviously more adjustable. We can see this cool star thing in the corner and lots of other stuff if we wanted to. We also have a free look mode, which you get if you press Control. I think this one is still a little buggy, but it gives us a little bit of more freedom with our character control. Anyway, so let's reset this camera and let's go do stuff. And while we're doing stuff, hopefully I can remember what has changed. So we've got the graphics. I'm not going to go into too much more detail about them. They speak for themselves. It's not the finished product. I am hoping to ramp this up even more before I even release a beta. But we're not quite there yet because I haven't worked enough on the campaign, which is what I'm going to be working on next. Again, I'll talk about that later. But now to call back into discussing these figures and armors that I was mentioning earlier, the style I'm going to use for this game is that all armors will be full body armors. So the reason for this at present is the fact that making a fully customizable character system where you can adjust their faces and, kind of like other games like Skyrim, right? I think it's a mainstay in many games these days, that you can pick exactly what your character is going to look like, that his nose is going to be big or her mouth is going to be very straight or something, is it's really difficult and complicated to put in, and I don't want to get bogged down on something like that that's purely cosmetic and honestly not too important. So what I've decided to do is that when you create your character, you're going to get probably like a little face card here that you get to choose, and after that, that is your character, and your actual character model will be the armor that you happen to be wearing. So, for example, well, that's another bug. I'm supposed to be wearing armor, and what you're currently seeing is supposed to be that armor. I'll show that more in the next video, I guess. When you switch armors, you would switch your model. So, for example, if I wore the standard armor, I would look like these guys. If I wore my high-tech armor, I would look like this. And then every other kind of combination in between, we would do something with, right? So that is what I'm going for, and the purpose of that is to simplify the coding on me. It allows me to redirect my resources more towards gameplay rather than to this very complicated character customization system that I don't think is entirely necessary. As you can see, I am currently using some abilities. I think these are all old ones that have been shown before. I'll just cycle through them real quick as a little refresher. So that was Greater Psionic Blast. Always a pleasure to use that one. And as you may have seen, we still have some bugs with the max range screen for Magic Missile. But anyway, let's not worry about that too much. I believe this leaderboard I've shown you before. I may have expanded this somewhat. I think I added in some new colors. So for example, you can see here when I cast Greater Psionic Blast, it has a different color so you can more clearly see what's going on. I might add tooltips later on just because I think it would be a good measure to take. Oh, I completely forgot about this. If you use the mouse wheel, you can scroll in and out. Oh, that's a pretty nice little view of everything that's going on. Anyway, so I believe I've shown that already. There's nothing new going on in the character screen. Still working on it, little bits here and there, but when I have a more robust change to show, I will discuss that more. Let's see. So you know about my little trick to avoid customization, allow customization, but not go too heavy into it. Other things that I've changed, I've created some new abilities. For example, this one, I think it's called Whispers of Eternity. It's got a very cool description about syncing with the universe or something like that. I'll show maybe a whole video dedicated towards abilities later on. They don't take too long to create. It's usually about half an hour to make a new ability. So before I do release a beta or an alpha, I do hope to have a few hundred of these rather than just 4. Still no character level up screen yet. That might be one of the next things I work on. Definitely on my list of priorities is to start working on the campaign. So my vision for this game is that the original version that I release and test will have a campaign version that is single player. Eventually, I want to expand this to a multiplayer campaign setting. Oh, look, I died. Oh, well, I guess we can just watch what's going on now. Eventually, I want to make a multiplayer campaign setting, and my goal is to create a multiplayer kind of setup where when you decide to host a multiplayer, you create a little server on your computer and other people can connect to it. This is kind of a little tie-in with an old game that I used to play called Windward, which inspired me with this because they also had a similar system where every time you started a multiplayer game, you started a server, and that server was dedicated to that game, and no one could play unless you were also playing. It's really neat because I don't have to pay a separate third party to have a multiplayer service. So everyone could always play multiplayer no matter how old or dated the game gets, as long as there are at least two copies of the game. So my multiplayer vision will be kind of like my single player vision, except it'll be even more expansive. So I haven't really discussed this before, I might as well go into it a little bit. The campaign setting will be, you are in the universe, and we're not just on planets at this point. We have multiple planets and spaceships, like this one in the corner that you can fly, and you can do space combat and things like that. And cities you can land in, and you can do diplomacy, and you can do trading, and you can buy bread and eat your bread on a bench or whatever you want. I really want the full simulation experience if possible, or as much as is reasonably possible. And then we have the whole, I don't think I've discussed this on video either. The basic format of a campaign would be there are 4 acts, which I suppose they're about 100 years apart, and I gotta know, every year might be like 10 or 20 minutes in game time. And every act you get a random global event that you have to deal with. And the goal by the end of the game is to prevent humanity, all of these people all around the planets, from being completely wiped out by the end of the 4th act. Should be pretty difficult. My multiplayer vision for this is that you'll have the same game, but the time frame will be extended dramatically. So maybe one year will be, instead of 20 minutes, an hour or something. Maybe you have 8 acts instead of 4 acts. And when you do finally finish a game on a server, and bear in mind anyone should be able to join at any time, when you do finally finish, you get an option to jump to another universe and basically start the game again, except maybe you get some additional bonuses. For example, your character, depending on what they did during their lifetime in the one multiplayer game, might get +1 hit point or different attributes that are interesting to have. While I'm just watching these characters move around and attack each other, I do see that there's some issues with the collision on the bullets, because it seems like sometimes even when they connect, they don't actually explode and do damage, but more bugs. So that's kind of my vision for the very near future of this game, to make the campaign mode. I'm kind of ramping up to work on the campaign mode now, because now that I have a little bit of a demo here that I can show people, which I'm still going to continue to work on, I'm starting to feel the need to actually put these mechanics into a game. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. I think I'm going to be working on a single planet. So one setting to start with, multiple cities, and maybe kind of like a conquest campaign. You have to conquer a bunch of cities and so on and so forth. Pretty straightforward, nothing too special. I think it's very common in the industry at this point. And then once I have that as my core basis of my game as a campaign, I'm going to start building on it, and maybe after that, sometime after that, I'll do an alpha release. There doesn't seem to be too much interest in this game right now, so I'm hoping there will be by that point. But if there isn't, I will try releasing the alpha on maybe Reddit games or something like that, so people can test it out, give me some feedback, some recommendations. After that point, or if I choose not to do Reddit, I might try to release some version of this as like a flash game to one of these flash game portals, like Armor Games or something. Again, not for profit and not as a full release, but rather just for the sake of testing, because there definitely needs to be some kind of beta or alpha testing for this game. There's so many things that could go wrong and don't work, or potentially won't work. And it'll be really nice. Oh, look, we won. Victory achieved. I guess because of that greater psionic burst earlier put us really far ahead. Anyway, back to the whole idea of testing. Testing is very important, and it's really nice for creating a community. I feel it's really rewarding when you can make something and people can be like, hey, we liked this thing that you did, and we would like to see more of this other part that you worked hard on, or something like that. So my goal is 50% to work on this campaign and stuff, but 50% as well to start trying to build a community. If I can build even a small community for this game, things I feel will snowball. It'll be a lot easier to motivate myself to work on this more regularly rather than only once or twice a week. And it will help a lot. I will link for the purpose of community in the comments my Patreon, I believe. I do not need no donations. Just putting that out there. I'm pretty self-sufficient. Donations always welcome, but really I'm looking more for followers. Like I said, the community or any recommendations for building a community. That's really kind of where I'm at in this stage of this game. As you can see, it's really amazing to look at how things change progressively. Because 2 months ago, you might have been looking at this exact kind of same scenario, but no leaderboard, no organization, all stick figures instead of actual models. Clearly, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I'm kind of proud that this is starting to look like a game. Oh my god, I'm so proud. It's a little embarrassing to say that. It's not really. I'm so proud that this is actually starting to look like a game. I for a while there, I was very stuck into the mechanics of the game, and I understand now why they describe a lot of game development processes as it's stick figures right up until the very end, until the last 10% of the game, then you put in the graphics. Obviously, this is not the exact same kind of scenario. I would say I'm only about 40% or even 35% through the development of this game. There's a lot of work to be done, but it's nice to see these things kind of coming together and looking, while not professional, not looking totally amateurish anymore either. So that's kind of where I'm at here. Let's let's pan to the moon and take a look at the sky. Oh, how beautiful. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you for watching the latest Starreign development blog. I hope you'll see the future ones as well, and that you are interested in following or supporting